What's up? I'm AJ and welcome back to Gen Z Garage. In this episode, we're going to be disassembling, cleaning, and restoring the headlight buckets. We'll also go over what tools you need, so let's get started. First, we're going to start by manually opening the headlight bucket mechanism. In order to properly disassemble the headlight assembly, we need to open and extend the headlight assembly. This will allow full access to the brackets and other parts that are otherwise inaccessible when closed. The headlight motors have a manual turn knob, which is what I'm turning here. This allows me to manually open them up without power. However, of course, Rodney Dickman sells a tool that speeds this up, which attaches to a power drill. My dad bought this too, but forgot to mention that he had it. Finally, I'm done. I will be taking pictures of the unit still assembled, so that way when I put it back together, I'll know where everything goes. Although you can use this video for reference, I highly recommend taking pictures so you can refer to them later. We start the disassembly process by removing the two large pivot bolts that hold the two major components together. These are attached using a 10mm nut and a Torx T30 head. You'll need to keep these bolts as you cannot buy new replacements. With these bolts removed, the only thing left holding them together is the motor pivot arm, which is attached using only a circlip. It's a little difficult to remove, but the easiest way is to pull it off using needle nose pliers. With that removed, you can either disassemble the motor portion or the headlight portion. I continue working on the motor portion and set the headlight bucket aside. I remove the fulcrum bracket that's still attached to the motor. It's also held on by a circlip, and I use a flathead screwdriver to push it out. Remember how this is positioned, and more importantly, do not disassemble the two headlight assemblies at the same time. The parts are side specific and it will become a mess if you mix the parts up. Although you may have new parts, save all the parts you take off in a cup or container in case you need to reuse something. Next, I remove the headlight motor relay. This is attached using two 7mm screws that attach into a plastic press nut. This relay is good, but I want to clean it and repaint the bracket it's attached to. We can now remove the motor from the bracket assembly. The motor is held on by three varying length bolts with a 10mm head. I use the ratchet and combination wrench to easily remove them. Unless you need to rebuild the motor, there isn't much else needed to remove from it. There's a few things that can fail, including stripped gears, a failed limiting switch, and even a circuit breaker when it overheats. I'll do another video about that at a later time, but in the meantime, these motors are good, so all I'm going to do is clean them up. Make sure you remove all the old plastic bushings, but don't throw them away. The Fiero store sells new ones, but you want to keep these just in case. Next, I remove the plastic press nuts. These are a little hard to remove, but you can generally force them out using a pair of pliers and pushing them out. Yay! I also removed the clip nuts that held on the headlight motor. These are kind of hard to remove, and they must be pulled out while the end is pried up to get the loop up and over the hole. Depending on how detailed your restoration, you can probably just leave these in when you repaint the brackets. Then I remove the headlight armature bump stops. There are two of these, and they just pry up and out with a flathead. With these removed, the motor bracket is completely stripped. I can now move on to the headlight bucket. The first thing I remove from the headlight bucket is the plastic headlight surround. This is held in place using 4 T15 Torx screws. 2 of them are located at the top front of the headlight and the other 2 are on the sides. The cover just lifts up and out. Next, we remove the headlight hood gap panel. This is the panel that sits in front and below the headlight to close the gap in the hood when the headlights are up. This is also held in place with two T15 Torx screws. We can now access the headlight and the headlight retaining ring. To remove this stainless trim ring, we have to remove 4 screws that attach to the assembly. Keep in mind, this is going to be the hardest part of rebuilding the assembly. GM used screws that were not stainless or properly painted. In every single case, these are usually completely rusted. Don't be surprised if they break off while removing them. With all 4 screws removed, I can now remove the stainless trim ring. You can buy new ones, but I'll be polishing these out. Now that the trim and headlight are removed, I tackle the heat shield and adjustment tray. This is held in place by 2 adjustment screw assemblies, one for the X-axis and one for the Y, and then a specialized tension spring that diagonally holds it in place. It's worth mentioning that the Fiero store also sells new adjustment screws, and you can also buy new heat shield trays. This is a federal DOT standard design, so if yours look as bad as mine do, don't worry, you can get new ones. For some reason, these are rarely painted, so like the screws from earlier, these tend to rust. To remove the adjustment screw assemblies from the headlight bucket, I use a pair of needle nose pliers and push them through. Next, I remove the tension spring by prying it out from the opposite side. I highly recommend replacing this spring if you can. Yay. Last but not least, I remove the remaining part of the motor armature. Like the hinge bolts, this too uses a T30 Torx head screw with a 10mm nut on the other end. But before I remove it, I take another picture to make sure I remember the orientation. I remove the arm and then, finally, I use my needle nose pliers to remove the 2 press nuts that previously held the gap panel in place. And with that, everything is completely disassembled. With everything apart, I now focus on cleaning and painting. I put all of the metal components into a large cleaning pan and scrub them with a green abrasive scrubbing pad. I also use a thick bristled toothbrush to get into the small corners that the scrubbing pad cannot. The scrubbing pads I use are particularly abrasive and allow me to not only knock down any aluminum corrosion that's occurred, but to also bite into the metal so the paint will adhere properly. Next, I take the plastic parts and clean them separately. For the plastic, you only need to clean and degrease them. You do not want to use an abrasive sponge or pad, otherwise you'll damage the finish of the plastic. In this case, I use an old toothbrush with dish soap. I do the same for the headlight motor, but I do not submerge it in water. For the hardware, I place everything into a bath of caustic degreasing liquid to eliminate any oils and rust. The brackets, long bolts, pivot bolts, bump stops, clip nuts, and a few other items I'll have to reuse. For each of these, I'll sand them down with a wire wheel attachment on my power drill and paint them with black epoxy paint. I also chase the threads of both the nuts and the bolts. With everything clean, I take all the plastic components and liberally spray them down with silicone spray. I do this several times, allowing the parts to dry in between. The silicone will get absorbed into the plastic and restore the natural oils that have leached from the plastic. I allow them to sit overnight to properly absorb the oils. They should be dry to touch the following morning. For the metal bracket that holds the motor, I carefully paint this using Marhide's black satin paint, which matches the original paint used on this component. I also polish and straighten out the tabs on the metal trim ring. For this, I use a stainless polish called Never Dull. This removes any of the rust that you see here and brings back the bright shine to the metal. When everything is done, I set it all out in the sun for the paint to cure and the silicone to fully dry. Everything basically looks brand new. And now, on to reassembly. The Fiero store sells a replacement for almost every screw and part, and I lay them out next to me for reassembly. I start reassembly by installing new press nuts on both the motor bracket, 1, 2, yay, and the headlight bucket. Can you come see it? Next, I reinstall the pivot arm by greasing both the bushing hole and the screw itself, and tightening it down. Next, I move on to the clip nuts.
For all of these clips, the nipple has to be facing down when you attach it. Like this.
Then I reinstall the motor. Center the screws and tighten them down.
Felt if I turned it the right way.
Then I install the bump stops. Next, I move on to the bracket arm. Before I install the arm, I grease the shaft with synthetic grease and install a new plastic bushing from the Fiero store. I do the same to the shaft on the bracket, along with a new bushing. The Fiero store sells new C-clips, so I install new ones, but you can reuse the old ones if you need to. With the bracket clipped on, I begin reinstalling the two halves by attaching the pivot arm from the headlight bucket, essentially assembling in reverse of how I disassembled it. Next, I grease and install new bracket pivot bushings, and then tighten down the reconditioned bolt and nuts. Keep in mind that both sides of the bushing needs to be greased. With the two halves assembled, I install brand new headlight adjustment bolts from the Fiero store. They just snap into place. They come fully extended, so I screw them down about halfway. Before installing the headlight retaining shield, I grease the 3 mounting pads on the inside of the headlight bucket. I use the same synthetic grease as I used for the bushings. I then slide the shield on the Y and then the X axis bolts and push it into place. I can now install the tension spring. When installed, it should hook into the cup area like shown. I then turn the adjustment screws a little bit more so that the headlights are at least somewhat straight. I'll have to adjust these at a later date when it's dark and they've been reinstalled in the car. I can now install the new headlight. Although the ones I had worked, they were mismatched, and I'm restoring this car to like new. I purchased a set of Sylvania high-intensity headlights off Rock Auto Clearance. But before I install it, I also install a rubber wiring isolator cap. It slips on behind the headlight and helps prevent water intrusion on the headlight wiring. Take note of the orientation of the drain slot at the bottom. You might be able to find these from J.C. Whitney or some other site. The ones I purchased were used on DOT-compatible motorcycle headlights. With the headlight in place, I install the trim ring that I'd polished out and begin installing the new stainless retaining screws. I install it with the seam at the bottom for consistency. It helps to loosely install the screws in first before tightening any of them down, otherwise you could break the tabs. With the headlight in, I reinstall the relay with the newly painted bracket. Take note of the direction the relay is installed. I also reconditioned these two 7mm bolts. With the relay installed, I connect the motor harness into the relay. Next, I install the gap panel along with the reconditioned bolts. And finally, I install the headlight shroud. And that, my friends, is a wrap. By the way, it's worth mentioning that when I reinstalled this, I used rubber washers to help isolate the vibration from the headlight motor. It's little things like this that make it feel more solid. And don't forget to grease the slide tracks on the underside of the headlight lid.
Thanks for watching. In this episode, I restored this whole headlight bucket, and now I gotta go and do the next one. Hopefully you found this informative and this helped you out. If you found this informative and you like this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and make sure to turn on notifications because I will be working on the front end next. Before you go, make sure to check out seamasand.com because they're helping to keep the classic car hobby alive and to support the right to repair law, which I think is stupid. That this is just ridiculous, but it's illegal to work on certain parts of your car, and they're trying to get rid of that because obviously I'm not the only person who thinks that's stupid. So if you also think that you should be allowed to work on your own car, definitely go to seamasand.com because, you know, kind of need to work on your car sometimes. So if you like this video, make sure to leave a like, and thank you for watching. But before you go, make sure to go to seamasand.com to help support the car hobby and the right to repair. I don't know what that was.